So let me first start with a primer about shin guards. Finding the right shin guards is a much harder task than finding the right gloves because gloves are a much bigger market. You are catering to everyone that does striking, not just gyms and gym goers, but also people who train at home. There's also glove collectors. You don't have people who collect shin guards or headgear or mouth guards. To some people, gloves are swag. Gloves are also not sparring specific. Shin guards are. And not all striking arts allow kicks. That diminishes the pool. And it's not like Brazilian Jiu Jitsu or wrestling, where you not only spar every session, but every session is mostly sparring. In striking, you spar far less. So the consumer pool for shin guards is very small. This makes even finding reviews hard. So there isn't as much money or competition to try and make shin guards that are comfortable for everyone. So sizing is an issue. And if you find the right size, the straps might not be the right length. Or if the shin length is good, the instep length might not be good, or vice versa. You can find gloves in all sorts of sizes. Small people can easily find a glove that fits. Whereas with shin guards, they all tend to cater to larger people because the pool is too small to accommodate every size. And unlike the stereotype that mostly small people take martial arts because it's the great equalizer, the reality in the West is it's mostly big dudes doing martial arts. Also, trying on gloves is much more hassle free than trying on shin guards. So, with that primer out of the way, this is where Fairtex comes in, and in particular, the SP3 shin guards. Since Fairtex is based out of Thailand and sells a lot of product, they can invest in R&D and inventory for more designs and sizes. The SP3 in particular tends to run small, but can still fit large people. The thing about small shin guards, so long as the straps are long enough, bigger people can wear them. The opposite, however, is not true. The SP3 uses a traditional Thai style strap system with a metal D ring and emphasizes fit and coverage over minimalism and competition legality. It's made of PU synthetic leather they call Syntec. It uses multi layer high density foam, with the outer layer being a hard shell, but for the shin side, it's soft. It not only uses a double pad for the shin, but also the instep. It uses a smooth tricot liner, which is easy to wipe and doesn't irritate the skin. These shin guards are 3 years old and have been used a lot by one of our fighters and is held up. The most important thing is the structure, and the structure is still sound. The inner foam is still soft and it hasn't degraded. The elastic foot strap hasn't torn at the seams or lost its shape. On the outside, there's no soft spots. The foam is intact. One of the failure points in shin guards is the D-ring where you cinch the Velcro straps. But since this is metal, it's built to last. The downside of metal D-rings is that they can cut or scrape people or damage other people's gear. If they get rusty, it's even a bigger risk. So some gyms or competitions won't allow them. The straps are another typical failure point, but here, they're still good. Now, the damage to these shin guards are all superficial. The top coat is starting to fray. This is especially common for white top coats. This includes gloves. Damage is more visible on white, but also white pigmentation doesn't bond well and tends to be more rigid, so it cracks and chips. But it's delaminating at the stress point, at the ankle crease, rather than the entire body. This happens because this is where it flexes the most, so this is normal wear and tear. It's still usable, but now it'll start shedding, so some gyms won't like that. I should also point out there's no protection at the ankle crease, whereas newer models of shin guards account for that. Another reason for this cracking at the ankle joint might be it wasn't properly wiped down and just stuffed in a small bag while still wet with sweat. And a small bag will flex the ankle and lock it like that. This is why you want a large mesh bag. Do not waste your money buying those expensive bags from sports brands. Just get a soccer bag or a scuba bag. They're not only cheaper, but they're better. Also, from the wear and tear, I can tell this was a bit too big for the user. When they started, they used to land a lot with their toes, so they wanted to fully cover their feet. But that means the instep will touch the ground a lot as they get on the ball of their foot, causing it to overflex at the crease. Also, you'll see it's worn out toward where the big toe is. So it also affected their mechanics. They got on the side of their toe rather than the ball of their foot. The instep basically was dragging on the ground a lot. This is why you want properly fitted shin guards so it doesn't affect your mechanics. Yes, landing with the wrong part of your foot hurts initially, but that's how you figure out how to score kicks without hurting yourself. You don't want so much coverage on your instep where it hinders you from getting on the ball of your foot. You also don't want that hard shell on the instep to dig into your foot when you're standing on your toes. So this is why sizing is difficult. You also don't want the shin length to go so high that it covers your knees. Now, since this shin guard is not made of real leather, just wipe the shell down with a damp cloth. You can lightly spray a non-alcoholic mild disinfectant spray on cloth and wipe the liner. The oils, germs, and sweat from your skin will degrade foam, so you want to remove it before it migrates, which is why you wipe and air dry. The SP3 is currently listed on Amazon at $89. For this level of quality, that's a very good value. If you're on the smaller side, it's going to be very hard to find these same sizes and at this quality from other brands, especially at a lower cost. However, I will point out Ring to Cage does make a knockoff at a fraction of the cost. The quality is not the same, but we've used it here and it's pretty good. I'll put a link to everything I mentioned in the description below. With that said, if you like my educational content, I'd really appreciate it if you could like, share, and most of all, subscribe.